You ever notice how one negative person can drain your entire energy, but one powerful voice can light your fire again? Your environment is either building your future or burying your potential. So ask yourself, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because energy is contagious. And if you want to stay strong when life gets tough, it's time to choose your circle like your life depends on it. Because we'll explain everything in this video step by step. Don't skip it. Let me tell you something powerful. Life will test you. It will knock the wind out of your lungs, shake your faith, and make you question everything you thought you knew about strength, happiness, and purpose. There will be days when you wake up and feel like the world is too heavy, when your dreams feel far away, and your heart feels like it's carrying the weight of every disappointment you've ever faced. But those are the days that define you. Those are the moments that shape the warrior inside you. Staying positive isn't about pretending that pain doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let pain control you. It's about standing up in the middle of the storm and saying, "You will not break me." Because positivity isn't the absence of struggle. It's the presence of power in spite of it. It's the mindset that says, I might be hurting, but I'm not done. When life gets tough, most people look for a reason to give up. They focus on what's wrong, who failed them, what didn't work out. But the truth is, what you focus on, you feel. If you focus on pain, you'll feel powerless. If you focus on gratitude, you'll feel grounded. If you focus on what's still possible, you'll feel unstoppable. Your energy follows your attention. So when the darkness closes in, you must choose to find even the smallest light and fix your eyes on it until it grows. Every challenge you face carries a lesson. Every loss hides a seed of strength. The people who rise are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who refused to stay down. They looked at their struggle and said, this isn't punishment. This is preparation. When you change the meaning of what's happening to you, you change the way it affects you. That's the secret. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. If you want to stay positive when life gets hard, you must master your state. Your emotions are created by your movement, your focus, your language. You can't feel powerful slouched over, breathing shallow, telling yourself, I can't. But stand tall, breathe deep, put your shoulders back and say, I'm not done yet. And feel how your body changes instantly. Energy shifts emotion. Emotion shapes thought. Thought directs destiny. You have to take charge of your state before your state takes charge of you. There will be moments when you don't see progress, when everything seems stuck. But remember this, growth is invisible until it's undeniable. Just because you can't see the seed growing under the soil doesn't mean it's not pushing through. The roots are forming in silence before the bloom breaks through the surface. So trust the process. Trust the waiting. And trust that what's being built inside you is stronger than what's being taken from you. When your mind starts to spiral, when fear takes the wheel, that's when gratitude becomes your weapon. Gratitude interrupts anxiety. It's impossible to be angry and grateful at the same time. It's impossible to feel hopeless when you're counting blessings. So even in your darkest moments, find one thing, just one, to be grateful for. Maybe it's your breath. Maybe it's the sunrise. Maybe it's the fact that you're still standing when life tried to knock you down. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it transforms it. It turns what you have into enough and what you're facing into fuel. And don't forget, your environment matters. Surround yourself with people who remind you who you are, not who you were. People who speak life into your vision, not fear into your heart. When life gets tough, negativity becomes contagious, but so does courage. Energy transfers. Stay around those who lift you higher. If you can't find them, become one of them. Be the light that you needed when you were in the dark. Remember, storms don't last forever, but warriors do. Every storm has an expiration date. Every night turns to morning. Every season of pain prepares you for a season of purpose. You've made it through 100% of your hardest days. That means you're undefeated. You've survived everything life has thrown at you so far, and that's proof you're stronger than your circumstances. So the next time life gets tough, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Don't pray for an easier path. Pray for greater strength. Don't wait for things to get better. Decide to get better right now. Because the real power isn't in what happens to you. The real power is in how you choose to respond. You have that power inside you right now, the power to rise, to rebuild, to reclaim your peace. Life might test you, but it will never take you down unless you surrender. So breathe in strength, breathe out doubt, and remind yourself, this storm is not my ending, it's my awakening. Your focus determines your feelings. Direct your mind toward gratitude and growth, not pain. Every emotion you experience begins with focus. The human mind is a magnifying glass. Whatever you aim it at, you amplify. If you focus on everything that's wrong, everything that's missing, everything that hurts, and then that pain becomes your world. But if you shift that same focus toward what's right, what's still working, what's still possible, your emotional state transforms. Life doesn't change just because the outside world becomes easier. Life changes when you start seeing it through a new lens. The problem is, most people don't realize how much power they give away through unconscious focus. They wake up, scroll through their phone, compare their life to others, replay old disappointments, and wonder why they feel empty. They let their focus be controlled by default instead of design. You have to take back that control. You must decide where your attention goes because your attention is your life. What you focus on expands. If you focus on fear, you'll find more reasons to be afraid. If you focus on gratitude, you'll find more to be thankful for. This is not just a motivational concept. It's a psychological truth. Your brain is wired to find what you consistently look for. If you constantly think about problems, your mind becomes a problem detection machine. But if you train yourself to notice opportunities, your mind becomes an opportunity creation machine. The quality of your life depends not on what happens, but on where you place your focus in response to what happens. When life gets tough, it's easy to get pulled into negativity. Pain demands attention. It's loud, screams for focus. But in that moment, the choice becomes more important than ever. You can either let the pain consume your awareness, or you can redirect your focus towards something that empowers you. This doesn't mean ignoring your pain. It means refusing to let it define you. Gratitude is the doorway to that shift. Gratitude changes what you seek because it changes what you seek. It forces your mind to scan for blessings instead of burdens. The moment you start focusing on something you're thankful for, even something small, your emotional chemistry begins to change. Stress hormones decrease, your breathing deepens, your perspective widens, and suddenly what felt unbearable begins to look manageable. Gratitude doesn't come naturally when you're hurting, which is exactly why it's so powerful. It's a conscious act of rebellion against negativity. It's choosing to see beauty when your circumstances don't offer it freely. Gratitude reminds you that even in loss, there's something left to appreciate. Even in chaos, there's something still within your control. When you focus on gratitude, you stop living in a state of lack and start living in a state of abundance. You realize that not everything is broken, not everything is gone, and that realization alone gives you strength to move forward. Growth works the same way. When you focus on growth instead of pain, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? That question alone transforms your mindset. It takes you out of victim mode and puts you in a state of power. Because now, instead of fighting reality, you're using it. Every difficult experience becomes a teacher, every setback a classroom. Focusing on growth turns suffering into meaning, and meaning is what keeps you moving when everything else feels impossible. When you fix your focus on how you can grow from the pain becomes a stepping stone instead of a wall. Think about it, two people can go through the same storm and come out completely different. One person crumbles under the weight, convinced life is unfair. The other rises more focused, more resilient, more alive. The difference isn't in the storm, it's in what they chose to focus on. One focused on the loss, the other focused on the lesson. One focused on what was taken, The other focused on what could be created. Focus is the invisible force that determines the direction of your destiny. When you wake up each day, your mind will immediately begin searching for meaning. It will look for patterns, for problems, for things to hold on to. If you don't guide it intentionally, it will default to fear. That's why rituals of focus matter. Taking a few moments each morning to center your attention on gratitude and growth is like setting the GPS of your mind. If you don't tell it where to go, it will wander aimlessly through doubt, worry, and stress. But when you begin your day asking, what am I grateful for? How can I grow today? Who can I help? You reprogram your emotional direction. Suddenly, challenges become opportunities to strengthen your character. Failures become feedback. Rejections become redirections. Your emotions are the result of your focus. Even joy, confidence, and peace are not random gifts. They are cultivated by attention. You can't feel joy while obsessing over what's wrong. You can't feel confident while focusing on your flaws. You can't feel peace while feeding your fears. Emotional mastery begins with focus mastery. Whatever you dwell on, you feel. So if you want to change how you feel, change what you focus on. When your mind starts drifting toward pain, you must intervene, catch it in the act, replace the story, interrupt the pattern. Ask yourself, what else could this mean? What can I learn from this? What's good about this that I haven't noticed yet? Questions like these shift your focus immediately. They redirect your energy from despair to discovery. Because the moment you ask a better question, your brain starts searching for a better answer. The mind is obedient. It will find evidence for whatever you believe. If you believe you're stuck, it'll show you proof. If you believe there's a way forward, it'll show you that too. The art of staying positive isn't about faking happiness. It's about focusing intelligently. It's about recognizing that even though you can't always choose what happens, you can always choose where you put your attention. Focus doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you power over it. It allows you to rise above circumstances that would otherwise control you. When you focus on gratitude, you shift your emotional state from fear to appreciation. When you focus on growth, you shift from helplessness to empowerment. When you combine both, you create unstoppable momentum. You become emotionally bulletproof. You stop being a reactor to life and start being a creator of it. Every time life throws you into chaos, it's not asking you to give up. It's asking you to choose your focus. Focus on gratitude and you'll find peace. Focus on growth and you'll find purpose. Focus on both and you'll find power that no external circumstance can ever take away. Master your emotional state through movement, language, and physiology to regain power instantly. Every emotion you experience is tied to your body, your breath, and your words. You don't just feel sad or confident by chance. Your body creates those states through patterns of motion, tone, and focus. The problem is most people let their emotions happen to them instead of generating them on purpose. They wake up tired, move slow, breathe shallow, speak with low energy, and wonder why they feel unmotivated. But emotion follows motion. If you want to change how you feel, you must first change how you move. The body is the fastest doorway to transforming your mind. Think about a moment when you felt unstoppable. Your body was alive, your shoulders were back, your chest was open, your voice had power. Now think about a time you felt defeated. Your head was down, your breathing short, your energy heavy. The difference wasn't circumstance, it was physiology. Your body tells your brain how to feel. The moment you shift your physical state, your emotional state follows. When you take a deep, powerful breath, when you stand tall and move with purpose, your body sends a signal to your brain, I'm safe, I'm strong, I'm in control, and your brain responds accordingly. When life gets tough, the body often collapses with it. People stop moving, they slump, they speak slower, they breathe less. That posture becomes an emotional prison. But the beautiful thing is, it can be broken instantly. You don't have to wait for motivation to strike. You can create it through action. Move your body like someone who is confident, even when you don't feel it. Breathe deeply like someone who is calm, even when your mind is racing. Speak with power like someone who believes, even when you're doubting yourself. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's repeated. So when you move, speak, and breathe like the person you want to be, your emotions eventually align with that identity. Language is the next key. The words you use to describe your experience shape the emotions you live in. If you tell yourself, I'm broken, you'll feel hopeless. If you say, I'm learning, you'll feel possibility. Language is the software of the mind. Change your words and you change your internal world. Most people use disempowering language without realizing it. They turn small setbacks into tragedies with their words. I'm devastated. I can't handle this. This always happens to me. Each phrase deepens their pain and programs their mind for helplessness. But when you change those same words to something empowering, I'm challenged, I'm being strengthened, I'm figuring this out, you instantly reduce the emotional intensity and reclaim control. The way you talk to yourself matters more than any external voice. You become the story you repeat. If your inner dialogue is filled with limitation, you'll act limited. But if it's filled with power, you'll act with purpose. You must learn to be the guardian of your language. When negative words slip in, catch them and replace them with strength-based alternatives. Instead of saying, I'm stressed, try, I'm energized. Instead of, I'm afraid, try, I'm excited. Those two emotions, fear and excitement, feel the same in the body. The only difference is the language you attach to it. Your mind takes cues from your words, and your emotions obey the meaning you assign. Then comes physiology, the combination of movement, breath, and focus. It's the science of how your body and mind interact. Every emotional state has a physical pattern. Confidence has one. Anxiety has one. Joy has one. If you repeat the physical patterns of confidence, even when you feel weak, you start to rewire your emotional identity. You create what's known as a state change, where your biochemistry aligns with empowerment instead of fear. The fastest way to do it is through breath. When you control your breathing, you control your nervous system. Long, slow exhalations calm the mind. Rapid, strong inhalations awaken energy. The breath is the remote control for emotion, and most people never learn how to use it. When life throws chaos at you, your breathing often becomes shallow. Your muscles tighten, your shoulders rise. You can't think clearly because your body is locked in survival mode. The moment you recognize this, stop and take 3 powerful breaths. Deep inhale through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth. Feel the air move through you. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel the tension release. That simple act begins to reset your entire emotional system. Once you gain control of your breath, your brain follows. Once your brain is calm, your choices become clear. That's how you reclaim power in seconds, by mastering the physical foundation of emotion. You can't wait for confidence to appear out of thin air. You must generate it. The people who seem fearless aren't without fear. They've just trained their physiology to respond differently. When they face challenges, they breathe deeper, move faster, speak stronger. They use their body as a weapon against doubt. When you do the same, you send a message to your subconscious that you are capable, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Emotion is momentum, and momentum is created through action. You move first, and your feelings catch up later. One powerful exercise is to identify the physical habits that accompany your negative states. When you're anxious, how do you sit? When you're angry, how do you breathe? When you're sad, what happens to your shoulders, your face, your pace? Once you know those patterns, you can interrupt them, change your body, and your emotion changes. Jump up, stretch, take a walk, shout something powerful, laugh loudly. These small shifts can transform your state faster than any amount of thinking. Thinking often keeps you stuck, moving sets you free. You also have to pay attention to your tone. The tone you use when speaking to yourself or others determines your emotional vibration. Say the same sentence with energy and confidence, and it feels inspiring. Say it slowly and weakly, and it feels depressing. The emotion you project through your voice becomes the emotion you reinforce in your mind. That's why music changes how you feel. It manipulates tone, rhythm, and pace. Your voice can do the same. Use it to energize yourself. Speak with conviction. Command your state through sound. Another powerful truth is that emotion is contagious, both within you and around you. If you allow your body to reflect exhaustion or defeat, your environment will mirror that energy back to you. But if you project power through your presence, your environment shifts to match it. When you change your state, you don't just influence yourself, you influence the entire atmosphere around you. That's how leaders inspire. They don't wait for good feelings, they generate them and transfer them through energy, motion, and language. Mastering your emotional state is not about ignoring pain. It's about learning to control the levers that shape it. You don't wait for external conditions to make you feel better. You create internal conditions that make you unstoppable. That's why movement, language, and physiology matter more than motivation. Motivation fades, emotion fluctuates, but state mastery gives you access to power on demand. It's the difference between being reactive and being intentional. It's the ability to say, I choose how I feel, even when life is throwing everything at you. The secret to emotional control lies in repetition. You train your body the same way you train a muscle, through consistent practice. Every time you choose to stand tall instead of slouch, every time you choose powerful words instead of disempowering ones, every time you take a deep breath instead of panicking, you strengthen your emotional muscle. Over time, it becomes automatic. You begin to live in higher emotional states by default because your physiology and language are aligned with strength, not weakness. And movement changes emotion, language changes meaning, physiology changes chemistry. Together, they form the foundation of unshakable power. When you master these elements, you no longer depend on circumstances to dictate your state. You become the cause, not the effect. You command your energy, your focus, and your emotions with precision, turning even your hardest moments into platforms for strength, redefine challenges as preparation, not punishment. Meaning creates resilience. Every human being encounters moments that feel unfair, painful, and overwhelming. The natural instinct in those moments is to ask, why is this happening to me? But that question keeps you trapped. It places you in the position of a victim instead of a creator. The truth is, nothing in life is purely punishment unless you decide it is. Every challenge you face has the potential to become preparation for the next level of your life, but that transformation begins in your mind. The meaning you attach to your experiences determines how you experience them. When you change the meaning, you change everything. The people who rise from difficulty are not the ones who never suffer. They're the ones who give their suffering purpose. They take pain and translate it into power. They use disappointment as data, failure as feedback, heartbreak as human growth. When life knocks them down, they don't say, this is the end. They say, this is the lesson. Meaning doesn't erase the hardship, but it gives you a reason to move through it. Because once you believe your pain has a purpose, you stop resisting it and start using it. Every great transformation begins with that decision to view challenges as something happening for you, not to you. When you see challenges as punishment, you create emotional paralysis. You start to believe life is against you, and your focus narrows until all you can see is struggle. But when you choose to see those same challenges as preparation, your entire identity expands. Suddenly the pain becomes training. The delay becomes direction. The rejection becomes redirection. You begin to understand that what feels like breakdown is often the beginning of breakthrough. This isn't just a shift in thinking, it's a shift in power. Because once you stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance, you reclaim control of your destiny. And life has a way of testing how much you really want something. Every dream comes with resistance. Every vision comes with obstacles. The universe doesn't hand you growth. It requires you to earn it. Challenges are the gym for your spirit. They build emotional muscle. They strip away weakness, expose limitation, and reveal strength you didn't know you had. The pain you feel today is often shaping the character you'll need tomorrow. You can't lead others through darkness if you've never walked through your own. You can't teach resilience if you've never been broken and rebuilt. So instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this building inside me? That single question transforms frustration into fuel. When you view challenges as preparation, you approach them differently. You stop waiting for life to get easier and start getting stronger. You stop asking for comfort and start building capacity. Every storm you survive increases your ability to stand firm in the next one. Growth doesn't come from ease, it comes from resistance. Just like muscles tear before they grow, your spirit sometimes has to stretch before it strengthens. What you once called suffering might later reveal itself as the very thing that made you unstoppable. The mind always looks for meaning, and if you don't give it one, it will create one by default. Most people attach painful meaning to their hardships. This means I'm not good enough. This means I'm unlucky. This means life is unfair. But you can choose a more empowering meaning. This means I'm being prepared for something greater. This means there's another level waiting for me. This means life is teaching me discipline, patience, or faith. Both stories are available to you. The question is, which one will you feed? Meaning isn't discovered, it's created. You assign it, and once you assign it, it defines how you experience the event. Every hero's journey includes a period of darkness, a phase where everything seems lost, where nothing makes sense. But when you look back, those are always the chapters that built the hero. The moments that felt like punishment were actually preparation for purpose. Without that pain, the victory wouldn't have the same depth. Without those tests, the transformation wouldn't be complete. You can't demand strength without accepting struggle. You can't demand wisdom without enduring confusion. The greater your purpose, the greater your preparation must be. Life doesn't send you easy lessons if you're destined to do hard things. Think of every challenge as a classroom. The discomfort you feel is just a sign that you're learning something your old self wasn't ready to handle. Pain is a teacher, not an enemy. It shows you where you're stuck, where you need to grow, where you need to let go. When you stop fighting pain and start listening to it, it reveals the exact lesson you need to evolve. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's humility. Maybe it's courage. Whatever it is, the moment you extract that lesson, the challenge loses its power over you. Because the moment you learn, you elevate. Resilience isn't born in comfort, it's forged in adversity. Every time you survive something you thought would break you, your capacity expands. Your nervous system learns calm under pressure. Your mind learns focus under chaos. Your heart learns compassion through suffering. That's the gift of redefined meaning. You begin to see yourself not as fragile, but as forged. Every scar becomes a symbol of strength, every failure a badge of wisdom. And once you start seeing life this way, no experience is wasted. Nothing is random. Even the hardest moments become part of your preparation. The human spirit is designed to grow. It craves evolution. But growth demands friction. Just as the seed must break before the sprout can rise, you too must sometimes be cracked open to release your potential. The challenge is not there to destroy you. It's there to break the shell of your old identity. It's there to strip away comfort and awaken capability. The pain of transformation is real, but so is the strength that follows it. The moment you stop labeling your struggle as punishment, you reclaim its power to shape you. When you redefine challenge as preparation, your relationship with fear changes. You stop running from discomfort because you understand it's the birthplace of growth. And you start seeking lessons instead of escape routes. You start appreciating the moments that stretch you because they reveal the depth of your resilience. The world doesn't get easier. The difference is you get equipped. You develop an internal foundation that can't be shaken by external storms. Meaning is the most powerful force in the human experience. Two people can live through the same tragedy. One falls apart, the other rises stronger. The difference lies in the story they tell themselves about what it meant. If you tell yourself your pain means you're cursed, you collapse. If you tell yourself it means you're being strengthened, you rise. Meaning is what separates those who stay stuck from those who soar. When you learn to assign empowering meaning to your hardest moments, nothing can truly break you. Challenges don't define you. Your interpretation does. The same event that crushed someone else can awaken your greatest potential. The difference isn't luck. It's perception. If you can look at every setback and say, this is preparing me, you become unstoppable. Because then, even in pain, you have purpose. And purpose is stronger than fear. Once your mind believes that every challenge is shaping you for something greater, resilience becomes your natural state. You stop fighting life and start collaborating with it. You realize the storm isn't against you, it's building you. Surround yourself with empowering energy. Your environment shapes your endurance. The people you spend time with, the conversations you engage in, and the energy you allow into your space directly influence your mindset, your emotions, and your potential. And most people underestimate just how much power their environment holds. You can have the strongest mindset in the world, but if you constantly surround yourself with negativity, fear, or doubt, it begins to chip away at your focus. Human beings are emotional mirrors. We absorb the energy around us consciously or unconsciously. If you're always around people who complain, you start to find things to complain about. If you're surrounded by people who dream, push, and believe, you start to think bigger, move faster, and rise higher. Your environment is not just a physical space, it's an emotional ecosystem. Every sound, word, and energy within it either fuels you or drains you. When life gets tough, your surroundings either become your anchor or your cage. The right environment doesn't remove the struggle, it strengthens you through it. It reminds you who you are when you forget, and it challenges you to keep going when your own mind starts to doubt. That's why protecting your space isn't selfish, it's survival. Energy is contagious. Spend enough time with driven people, and their hunger becomes yours. Spend enough time with small-minded people, and their fear becomes yours. We are wired for connection, and through that connection, we unconsciously match the energy of our tribe. If you want to stay positive when everything feels dark, you must intentionally place yourself among people who carry light. You must seek those who speak life into your vision, who challenge your excuses, and who remind you of your power when you can't see it yourself. The company you keep determines the standard you accept for your life. When you're around people who refuse to settle, mediocrity becomes uncomfortable. When you're around people who settle, ambition feels like arrogance. The environment you choose normalizes your reality. If you stay among those who constantly talk about what's wrong, you'll drown in problems. If you stay among those who talk about solutions, you'll rise into purpose. Your conversations are shaping your consciousness every day. That's why growth often requires separation. Not because you're better than others, but because you're becoming different from what you were. Some people are part of your story, but not part of your evolution. It takes courage to distance yourself from people who feel familiar but drain your spirit. It takes discipline to say no to environments that feel comfortable but keep you small. But if you don't protect your energy, you'll lose your direction. The strongest individuals in the world are not those who isolate, they curate. They choose what and who they give access to. They build circles that feed their faith, not their fear. They surround themselves with people who want to see them win, not people who need them to lose to feel secure. Your environment also includes the content you consume, the voices you listen to, the music you play, the stories you scroll through. They all become part of your internal narrative. If you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity, outrage, and despair, you're programming your subconscious to expect the worst. But if you fill your space with wisdom, growth, and positivity, your energy begins to elevate naturally. The mind becomes what it eats. So ask yourself daily, what am I feeding my focus? Because focus is fuel, and whatever you pour into your mind becomes the energy you operate from. When life feels heavy, your environment can be the difference between giving up and going on. The right people won't always make things easier, but they'll remind you why it's worth it. They'll call you out when you start shrinking. They'll speak to the version of you that exists beyond your current pain. Sometimes all it takes is one conversation, one person, one moment of encouragement to shift your entire state. That's the power of connection. You were never meant to do life alone. You were meant to grow in an environment that nourishes your purpose. But it's not just about finding empowering energy, it's about becoming it. The fastest way to attract better people is to become the kind of person who radiates strength, positivity, and growth. Be the energy you want to experience. When you walk into a room, carry light. When others complain, bring perspective. When people doubt, bring belief. Energy leads before words do. When your presence uplifts others, you naturally begin to attract those who live at the same frequency. Protecting your energy also means creating boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they're filters. They keep out what drains you and preserve what sustains you. Every time you say yes to someone or something, you're saying no to something else. Often your peace, your focus, or your growth. Learning to say no is an act of power. It's how you reclaim your time, your emotional clarity, and your direction. If you want to endure life's toughest seasons, you must create an environment that doesn't just look peaceful but feels peaceful. Sometimes empowering energy comes not from people but from solitude. There's a kind of silence that restores your spirit. A space where you reconnect with your inner strength, where you hear your own thoughts without interference. Spending time alone allows you to recalibrate your energy and return to the world with clarity. Solitude is not loneliness, it's alignment. It's where you recharge the energy you later share. Balance your connections with moments of self-connection, because if you lose yourself trying to please your environment, your energy will always depend on others. The truth is, your environment will always reflect your standards. If your standards rise but your surroundings don't, you'll feel friction. That friction is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of growth. It means you're outgrowing old energy, old circles, and old habits. Don't resist that feeling. Let it guide you towards spaces that match your evolution. Growth often requires leaving behind what once felt safe. The cocoon is comfortable, but you weren't meant to stay there. The butterfly can't spread its wings in the same space it transformed in. As you elevate, not everyone will understand your journey. Some will criticize your boundaries, misinterpret your distance, or resent your change. That's okay. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Your purpose will always demand pruning, removing what no longer serves so that what's meant for you can grow. The key is to release guilt. You're not abandoning people, you're aligning with purpose. And the people meant to stay in your life will rise to meet you. Your environment is the foundation upon which your endurance is built. When the world tests you, it's your inner and outer circles that determine whether you collapse or continue. If you surround yourself with negativity, you'll always fight uphill battles. But if you immerse yourself in empowering energy, you'll find strength even when everything else feels uncertain. Energy doesn't lie. It either drains you or drives you. Pay attention to which it's doing. You can tell a lot about your future by the people you spend your time with. Look around. Who inspires you? Who drains you? Who challenges you to grow? Who keeps you stuck in cycles of complaint and comfort? Your answers to those questions reveal more about your destiny than any plan you could write, because you can't rise surrounded by what keeps you rooted. To evolve, you must choose alignment over attachment. When you finally decide to guard your energy and elevate your environment, something powerful happens. You begin to feel lighter, clearer, more alive. The noise fades and focus returns. The doubts weaken and confidence builds. The chaos outside doesn't shake you as easily because your foundation inside is strong. The people you surround yourself with become reflections of the energy you choose to live in. You become a magnet for purpose, strength, and growth. And from that place, endurance is no longer something you fight for. It becomes who you are. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe